By the way, Tuesday is a very important holiday here. It's May the 4th. So it's May the 4th be with you. And I'll actually be giving a talk.
Excuse me, my grandmaster is on the phone.
Oh,
so,
well,
excuse me for a moment.
Give him the URL. We'd love to have him here. But I'll be giving a talk at South Norfolk Lodge, which is in not our district, but a neighboring city. And the master asked me to give a talk. He said, I'm doing something about Star Wars because it's on May the 4th. And I said, oh, that'd be great. He said, so can you give us a paper on Star Wars and tie it to Masonry? And I was like, sure, I love a challenge. So
I've got Michael Jerzabek, Chris, coming to Lodge Hope of Karachi on Tuesday to talk about. Michael Jerzabek's coming to Lodge Hope of Karachi on Tuesday evening to talk about Star Wars and Freemasonry again because May the 4th. Yeah. Yep.
So I managed to write up something I think it's pretty good. It just sort of compares symbolism of the two. I'm sure if it's good, if it's close enough, it'll offend some people. You know, like I talk about, instead of the Holy Saints John, we have the Holy Saints George Lucas, the creator, and Luke Skywalker, or the Holy Saints Luke, rather. George Lucas, the creator, and Luke Skywalker, the hero. And I'm sure that's going to tick off somebody. So I guess I'm doing it right. It treads on toes, but it was fun. I mean, it actually brings up Star Wars and all that, but it actually makes you think about all of the bits from the lectures, you know, so it actually kind of reinforces the lectures. If you think about it, it is Masonic education because I bring up the pillars and, you know, charcoal and clay and all the other things, starry deck heavens. And so I'm bringing them
entertained.
What's that?
It will keep them entertained.
Oh, I think it'll
give them something to moan about since they've not been in lodge to tut about the standard of ritual.
Well, I don't know what else he has planned, but it should be it should fit in well with the theme for the evening. So I'm looking forward to it. First lodge I've been to, I think I went to my annual. I think that's the last thing I went to in person. So, and May the 15th, Virginia Research Lodge is actually meeting in person again for the first time since August. So first time in person since February of last year. So we missed 4 meetings in a year. It sucks. So that's that.
I was reminded the other night, Chris, that because I'm still the master of a research lodge and we should only do 1 year. And so it's 4 meetings, 3 lectures and installation. And with our weekly lecture series, I've now done 20 years worth of mastership equivalent in the lodge. Hence the grey hairs.
You should definitely get points, yes.
Yeah.
You're leveling up even if you're not in lodge. Well, like I mentioned, it's Grand Commandery this weekend, so we might have a few guys at that. So, but I don't know.
It's still early, though, is it not? 10 minutes to 3.
Yeah. I usually get a few of you all. About 4 or 5 people are coming in the first minute or so, and then we just kind of sit around and do this nonsense until 10. And so, anyway, yeah, I'm going to keep doing these every week until I run out of speakers or get too much going on where I can't do it. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's like I sit down and run. In fact, Gordon, you're speaking coming up in May, are you not? Or
yeah, I think so.
Yep. So it's like I fill up the calendar a bit and then I slack off. And then it's like I realize, okay, this week is the last speaker I have booked. So I need to hurry up and go beat the bush.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Can you let me share my screen, Chris?
Please. Do I need to give permissions? Let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I work from for Lodge Hope. It's a rolling diary.
Okay.
So I moved from that over onto the full lecture list. So I'm 4 weeks ahead just now, and I've got 2 booked in. So I've got Shelby booked in. Right. The one that you did for you.
You're taking all my guys. Yeah, you had and Moises.
But it's I've got them on the eve of the anniversary, the 80th anniversary of the resistance movement.
Cool.
So
I like
I've got them that. And then I moved them over onto this one, and That's just this list. Can you see the new list now?
I still see the first one you showed.
Okay, I need to stop share and then share again. And then this one goes back to the beginning of our lodge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So from when we were reponed in November 1988, we've got the full thing, 3-4 meetings a year. And then when we get to 2020, our Zoom meeting started 23rd of March. So I think we were the first to do Zoom lecture meetings. In the UK anyway, and others have followed, and then we've got 60 odd over right the way through. So, and so I just moved them from one list to the other.
Yep. Cool. Very cool.
But I appreciate your challenges. It's not easy, and not everybody always appreciates the challenges. Brian's got the same with what he does with ESSA, and it's people just think, oh, it's easy, we just turn up.
In many ways, I'm luckier in that I have a Facebook page and a messenger group as well.
Yeah.
I know you've got a Facebook page, Gordon, but the messenger group means I have 250 people I'm speaking to directly every time.
Right? Yeah.
So I do get some out of that.
Morning, Brother Kavor. Nice to have you here again.
I think I've got someone here who's going about to try and get me to join the Illuminati.
Oh, yes.
Game on.
Fools. Morning, Brother Kavor. You're muted. How are you doing, brother? No, still can't hear you. All righty. Oh, Brother Hughes, we can begin. Brother Hughes is here. Morning, John. How are you?
Hi, John.
Good day. How are we?
All right. Good to see you. So, Brian, what do you do for a living, or are you retired, or what?
I retired on the 19th of this month.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I was a civil servant, but now I'm going mad, taking all sorts of courses I'm laying my hands on, so I'm going to be some use in the community.
Very cool. Okay.
I've done health and safety. I've done food hygienes, allergies, electrical testing, all sorts of stuff.
Okay. Interesting. I write websites for a living. I work with SharePoint, and I do a lot of. I'm a computer programmer for 20-some years. More than that, actually. I enjoy it. I like taking the stuff I learn that I get paid to learn and then go build live websites and other things and reapply it.
So, did Babbage teach you?
Yes. Ada was my idea. Yeah, Ada was. I came up with the name. ENIAC too. I thought. Yes.
Bootneck or Marine to computer programmer. That's a bit of a leap, is it not?
Yes. Went from smashing things to building things. Yes. What's funny is I've actually worked for all 5 branches of our military. I've been a contractor for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard.
Well, you've actually got 6 branches. Come on, I shouldn't need to tell you that.
I got to go work for the Space Force now. They're still getting.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I can't help it if they add things, but yeah, I've done government contracting most of my career, so that's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm more useful now to the military than ever was when I was in. I was completely replaceable when I was in. So what about you, Gordon? What do you do?
I am head of fundraising for Poppy Scotland, head of fundraising and learning for Poppy Scotland.
Okay.
That's one of our veterans organisations.
Yep.
So part of the Royal British Legion group in the UK. So
Okay. Very cool.
the guardian of the poppy in Scotland.
Right. Interesting.
Hence the flag behind me.
Yeah, I see it. I've heard about it. I hear about it. I think you mentioned, other people have mentioned it. I've heard about it. So getting the word out anyway. A friend of mine from our lodge or our valley actually went up to Supreme Council and was the director of fundraising for the Supreme Council for the Southern Jurisdiction for a while. He just retired from that. Another friend of mine is in charge of recruiting or fundraising for House of the Temple. He'll be Grand Master in a few years. I know him in Dimiter, and he's head of fundraising for the House of the Temple. So we had a Dimiter event a couple years ago. My son joined, and he gave us a tour of the whole place, and it's like, that's kind of cool. I knew him when he was just a snot-nosed state master counselor when I was in Dimiter.
Yep, we are definitely game on here. This guy's asked me whether I received the message that he sent me last week. It's going to be the one about the grants from the US government.
Oh, yes.
Here we go. No, what's that?
No, please. Tell me. Morning, brother. A day.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. How was last week?
Terrible, but a total of 3 people. I ended up calling it after about 10 minutes. We just didn't have, I don't know what it was. So
I couldn't make it because we had a grand chapter annual meeting. So
Right. Well, it's understandable. Well, I figure every one of you has some good reason. Every week you've got something else going on, and that's fine. It's not like I expect everyone to be here every week. It's just that between all of you, generally I get 10 to 20, sometimes as high as 30. So it's always a good mix, and I don't sweat it. But when there's like that few, I'm like, what do we do wrong? What are we doing wrong? And some brother said, you need to be more positive. It's like, well, I am positive. I'm just asking the question. If it's the topic, then we won't do that topic. If it's just of other events, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm just trying to always improve this. I don't want to do the same thing every week. I want to make it better and get feedback. And we have over 1,000 people on the mailing list for the research paper. We have over 1,500, I think, now in our Facebook group. And I've never got more than 30 people in a Zoom meeting. So I don't quite get. It's not that we don't make it available. I mean, Brian puts stuff up there all the time for events and Zoom meetings. I put up stuff. We host stuff. So I don't know. I guess some people like to belong to the group, and that's it. I don't know. Seems like some things you can't really go. There are some websites, some of the groups, Brian, the Winding Stairs and Proud to be a Freemason. I don't know how much of those you guys are on, but it's like they get a lot of chatter, and it's all just nonsense, like points in, points out, stupid stuff. And 100 people will comment. And then I'll put in something like, okay, you want something good here? And I throw some question out there and nothing. So it's like, well, I've tried to get discussions going on our Facebook, on the Research Lodge Facebook group, but it's like, I'll put content there all the time. And it just seems like no one really comments other than, hey, good job. Okay, that's nice. But I try to stimulate discussions, and it's kind of like you try and force it and it doesn't work. So you're like, okay, well, I don't know. I don't know what it takes. I'd love it if our group was just a constant discussion about, like I'll post a paper and people come on and comment on the paper and say, okay, here's what I got from that, and kind of get more out of it rather than, I don't mind just providing the content because I got plenty of it. But I'm just wondering if there's a way I can make it better, make it more interactive, get some back and forth going on, because we do get good discussions going here in the, in the Zoom meeting. There's plenty of discussion here. I don't know. I guess I'm constantly, I'm never satisfied. I guess that's it. I'm never satisfied. keep trying to make it better for y'all and just live and learn. I keep thinking in 5 years I'll look back and say, see, but then you hit on it. So these are the early days. These will be the tapes that people will dig up. It's like, well, that's when, before they became hugely successful, when there were only 10 guys showing up. Keep thinking that. Anyway. I haven't seen Dimiter yet. He said he would be on in a minute. Yeah, right.
That's a little bit worrying.
So, yeah, I mean, we're chatting back and forth. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Anything going on with your lodge or anything new? Guess my vamping is rusty. I'm running out of things to vamp about. Anyone? Oh, there he is. Good.
Dimiter, hello, mate.
Good morning, brother Dimiter. Dimiter?
Good.
You need to unmute.
Good morning, Brother Christopher. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, brothers from Virginia and elsewhere. How are you? It's morning at your side. It's evening at my side.
Yes.
Hi. We're in the midst of our Easter. It's tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that.
Hi.
So is that Orthodox? Is that what it is? So it's, or why is it? Because we just had Easter a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, sometimes they are on the same day. Sometimes they're not on the same day. It's got to do with some other Christian datings from the Orthodox part and from the Catholic part and from the Protestant part and so on and so on. Sometimes it's before yours, sometimes it's after yours. Easter.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I used to have a neighbour that lived in used to live in Romania, and it used to be brilliant. We'd have 2 Christmases and 2 Easters. It used to be great fun.
Oh yeah.
How are you? Are you okay? How is the pandemic at your side?
It's quieter here. I've actually got the second vaccine myself this week, so start going back to lodge and things. But things are getting back to normal a little bit. The governor is loosening the restrictions, and the lodges are starting to meet again in person, which is good. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully things will simmer down.
That's good. I'm just going to send the link to Plamen Matev, the most worshipful immediate past Grand Master, because he said that he wants to join.
Okay, by all means.
Just a second. And you know, we have like a couple of days now, maybe 2 or 3 days, 26 degrees Celsius. And it's hot. I mean, it's literally hot. We didn't have spring almost. It was 0 degrees 10 days ago, and now it's 26, which is...
Yeah, we're in the 90s actually this one day this week, and yesterday it was actually cold, and this morning's a little cold, so go figure. Let me do the official stuff. Welcome everybody to Virginia Research Lodge's weekly unstated meeting. I put in the chat our Facebook page, our lodge website, and our YouTube channel, and my email address if you want to sign up for the weekly research papers. This will be posted to YouTube. I've got all of them. Yeah, we're all current, so all of the previous meetings, of course I didn't bother with the last week, but all of the previous meetings are up there on YouTube, and they're all in a channel playlist called Unstated Meetings. So they're available for you.
Hello, Palman.
Morning, Brother Plowman. Need to unmute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, actually, it's good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody but a day. And where do you hail from, Brother Flamen?
No, Flamen, where are you? Are you in Sofia or are you at the seaside?
No. Actually, I'm on seaside.
You know, I had an idea to do the same, but tomorrow I have to go to an Easter lunch with some relatives. And 10 days ago, I said, okay, I'm going to come. And in Bulgaria, we have something like 7 or 8 days of holiday. So the seaside is like 300 miles, no less, 250 miles from the Sofia city capital. And it's like a 4-hour drive if you drive slowly. So I was planning to do the same, but I cannot do it now. So maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. But you have done something very, very good. I saw some photos from the seaside. People are going sunbathing and even in the sea. Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, we're about 8 after. I don't know if anyone else is coming, so I'm going to go ahead since the chat. Normally, there's more chatter at this point. I don't know what it is, Brian. Everybody's just tired. I don't know. I'm not vamping as much as I used to. So, Brother Dimiter, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, and you can go ahead and begin your presentation when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Brother Christopher, and thank you for having me in the Research Lodge of Virginia, 1777. I was even obliged to say yes when you invited me. And after it was also it was communicated to me with Brother Brian from UGLE. Thank you very much, Brother Brian, for this also. Now, this is meant to be always the history of Freemasonry in Bulgaria. We try to promote it as a representation, a brief historical representation of what has happened for the past 200 years in Bulgaria, in the territory of Bulgaria, and what Grand Lodges there used to be, what Grand Lodges there are currently, and we do it together with the immediate past Grand Master, Brother Plamen Matev, the most worshipful brother. We do this in order not to have speculations what has happened 100 years ago or 10 years ago. This is 6 or 7 years of in-depth analysis, in-depth studies in our historical archives, and we try to make it a bit brief. So now I would like to share my screen just to put the presentation up. Okay. Here we go. And slideshow. Yep. Okay. As you see, this is going to be a presentation of the brief history of Freemasonry in Bulgaria. When I say brief history, I don't only mean the presentation itself is going to be brief. The current status of Freemasonship, of Freemasonry as a whole in Bulgaria is very, very young. We don't have even 30 years of active Freemasonry going on in the Republic of Bulgaria. Since the rebirth and reintroduction of Freemasonry back in the 90s in Bulgaria, but later on you will get to know what I mean. Now, this is a joint presentation, as I stated previously, between me and the most worshipful immediate past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria. Now, the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria is the first regularly installed Grand Lodge in the jurisdiction of Bulgaria, and this was done on the September the 20th and September 21st, 1997 by the United Grand Lodges of Germany, and most precisely by the GLAFAM of Germany and the American Canadian Grand Lodge of Germany. These were the Grand Lodges to which we owe our gratitude and to which we always mention with high and duly respect for what they did for the Bulgarian Brotherhood, for the Bulgarian Freemasonry, for the resurrection of something that was put to a halt, put to a pause in the beginning of the times of communism in the late 1940s. Now, the content of this presentation will focus mainly on the following. First, I will be explaining briefly what is the history of Bulgaria. Now, this is something very tricky. I tried to make it on one slide, 1300 years of history, to put it in one slide. I think I was able to do this together with Brother Plamen in a very nice way. So you'll see it in a moment. The second item, which we will go into, is why do we find Freemasonry attractive? In terms of the esoteric teachings, the philosophies that we used to have, or we still have, in the territory of Bulgaria, in the Bulgarian society. I will explain mostly about Bogomilism and Dunovism. The third item, which is composed of 3 sub-items, is the 3 significant time frames of Freemasonic endeavors in Bulgaria. I'm going to explain the first sub-item, which will be prior to the liberation of Bulgaria, meaning 18th, 19th century. After the liberation of the Kingdom of Bulgaria, meaning late 19th century to the halfway through the 20th century. And the resurrection, the rebirth, the reintroduction of Freemasonry after the fall of communism, which happened 2 years ago. Now, the fourth item on our agenda will be the problematic situations that we had in the Bulgarian Freemasonry in the years 1992 to 2015. What were the facts, what happened, and what is the up-to-date current status quo. The fifth item will be the activities in favor of the brethren and the Bulgarian social society and the people in the world as a whole. Item number 6 will be the 4 Grand Lodges that are part of the National United Grand Lodges Association, in which the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria is a founding member, as also most of the lodges, I would say all of them, officially and non-officially, have been derived from the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria during the years. But later on during this presentation, there will be some schematics, historical review of what happened. Item number 7 will be a Q&A, and item number 8, reference, gratitude, and contacts. Now, before I proceed with what time do I have on my side? How many minutes do I have?
As long as you need. How much? What do you think you need?
Okay, I'll be brief then.
Okay. We generally run these meetings generally run about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how much people want to chatter. But the presentations are generally at least 15, 20 minutes, but they can go 40 minutes. I've had them go an hour before, but everybody was really interested, so they were fine. So
okay,
anywhere in there is fine.
You can ask any question at any time. I'll be happy to shed some light on the questions that may arise, and I hope you find this presentation interesting to the height to which we find it interesting for us as Masons, not only as Bulgarians but as Masons. Now we proceed with item number 1, the brief history of the Bulgarian states. Why I say states? Because we had 3 states on this territory. We had the first Bulgarian state, the second Bulgarian state, and the third Bulgarian state. This, as I said previously, is an attempt to squeeze 1300 years of history in one PowerPoint slide. Now, in the first official mention to which currently we are obliged to work on is the year 681. This is when there was a treaty between our first Bulgarian state, to what we call officially the state at that time, was formed and had a document signed with a neighbor state in this region. And from that moment on, we had the first Bulgarian state. In 864, meaning something like 160, 180 years later, we had the Orthodox Christianity introduced, and also later in the years, we had the two Bulgarian alphabets produced in Bulgaria, the Glagolitic and the Syllabic alphabets. You know, these Latin type, should I put it, ununderstandable, non-Cyrillic and non-Glagolitic speaking people and readers and so on and so on, is called Bulgarian alphabet unofficially. So these were times during which in the first Bulgarian state we had Christianity introduced in order not to be barbarians. Back then there was a lot of chatter, a lot of debate whether to have Islam, whether to have Christianity, what type of Christianity, to have the Roman Christianity or to have the Orthodox Christianity. For many political and economic reasons, the state at that time chose to introduce and also impose with fearful instruments the official religion to be the Orthodox Christianity of the first Bulgarian state. Now, in the years 1018, 1185, we had a little pause of the Bulgarian state. The Bulgarian state ceased to exist during those years, 160, 170 years, because the Byzantine Empire, which was our neighbor, during one of the numerous wars we had between Bulgaria and the Byzantines, they overcame our state. So they ruled over our state for almost 2 centuries. Now, in 1185, we had an uprising, one of the many uprisings, and we managed to form the second Bulgarian state, which lasted until 1422. The official date to which most Bulgarians are now connected is 1396, but the last part of the Bulgarian state which disappeared after the Turks came, the Ottomans came to Europe and overran our state was 1422. They officially wiped out the second Bulgarian state. Now, this is interesting because the second Bulgarian state in numerous journals, in numerous historical records is referred to as the Bulgarian Empire at that time, because there were maybe 2 or 3 empires in the European region, big states which were called empires. Almost 5 centuries later, 440, 450 years, we had during one of the numerous Turkish-Russian wars, we had the liberation of Bulgaria during the war of 1876-1879. Now, that was when the third Bulgarian state, which we now call the current state still, the third Bulgarian state, was formed. In 1885, we had the so-called unification with the leftover territory of Eastern Romania, because when the third Bulgarian state was formed, we had 2 states, basically. One was the Principality of Bulgaria, something like the Kingdom of Bulgaria, should I put it more correctly, and the Eastern Romania, that was something like an autonomous region in the Turkish Empire. In 1885, as I stated, we had an official unification between the 2 territories, and so the Kingdom of Bulgaria was officially now state with the leftover territory of Eastern Romania. In 1903, we had the independence of Bulgaria. This is a very interesting situation because the proclamation of independence was made by the cabinet of the prime minister, in which cabinet of the prime minister, 9 out of the 10 members of this cabinet were Freemasons of the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria back then. And they had the idea to proclaim this independence 1 month later, but due to the reason that a lot of political and economic stuff was happening in the region of the Balkans, and thanks to the Freemasonic activities of these members of the cabinet, they got to understand that if they do not proclaim the independence on the day on which they did, this may never happen. So they did it on their own. Basically, it was a lodge meeting in which they decided, okay, we're going to have the independence proclaimed on the date which is this and this. Now, in 1945 to 1989, we had the socialism or the communism, the rise and fall of socialism and communism in Bulgaria. This was the ruling ideology in Bulgaria, and since then, since the beginning of even 1940, with fascism and with communism, one after the other, we had a couple of legislative measures which aimed to ban all non-Bulgarian, and not only non-Bulgarian, but also every type of gathering which might be viewed as secret gathering, which might be viewed as gathering of people who have the means to influence the politics and the policy formation of the state. Basically, the measure was to ban Rotary clubs, to ban Freemasonic lodges, to ban everything that is not under the auspices and not under the control, 100% control of the state. During fascism, the Nazi time of Europe, and afterwards during communism. Later in 1989, we have the fall of the Berlin Wall. Basically, the domino effect came to us also. A couple of hours later, after the Berlin Wall fall, we had our 10th of November, so-called, in which we had the change of our system, or the beginning of the reform of communist Bulgaria to democratic and capitalistic in economic sense Bulgaria. And 15 years later, on April the 2nd, with an official ceremony, we joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, 2 years and a half almost later, on the 1st of January 2007, we joined the European Union, and we were back in the European family of the states, which were the ones that formed Europe, what it is until now, from many, many centuries ago. Now, as I stated in the beginning, this is just an attempt to squeeze 1300 years of history. Did I do well? I don't know. I hope so. Now, the next item. During these 1,300 years, we had a lot of teachings, a lot of philosophies. You know, Bulgaria is in a region which we call one of the biggest crossroads in the world. The Balkan Peninsula, the bridge between 3 continents, should I say, or even 4 continents sometimes, but mainly the 3 continents of Europe, Africa, and Asia, mainly between this was one of the places in which we had most of the crusades coming in and coming forward to Jerusalem. And this was one of the places where we had the Silk Road going through. This was one of the most economically, in economic sense of the word, valued trade routes. So a lot of history, a lot of influence, a lot of different types of cultures, different civilizations moved through, or even settled, or even were formed on this territory. I'll give you an example which many of the brothers like when they come to this region, or not only in this region. We have more than 6,000 years of knowledge how to make wine. 6,000 years of winemaking in this region. 6,000 years of grapes being produced in the land, in the soil, and how to do wine from these grapes. Anyways, so it is not a surprise that we had some teachings and the formation of some esoteric philosophical studies being formed. One of them was called Bogomilism. Bogomilism was a Christian neo-Gnostic or dualist sect founded in the First Bulgarian Empire by the priest Bogomil during the reign of Tsar Peter I in the 10th century. The Bogomils called for a return to what they considered to be early spiritual teaching, rejecting the ecclesiastical hierarchy, and later, the movement spread quickly in the Balkans, gradually expanding throughout the Byzantine Empire, later reaching Kiev and Rus, Bosnia, Dalmatia, Serbia, France, mainly the Qatar region. Why did this happen? This happened because in the 10th century, that means almost 150 years later, after the so-called imposing of the newly officially adopted doctrine to have the Orthodox Christian religion was made as a state legislation. You had to be a Christian. You cannot be anything else. This was the official religion. So these guys, coming from a lot of different types of Christianity and prior to Christianity teachings, they started the idea that there should not be a church in terms of whole, in terms of a place to worship, in terms of the temple, because they stated in Bogomilism that the temple is within you. You are the temple, and the Holy Spirit is everywhere, and you do not need and you're not obliged to sponsor any temple in terms of financial wise, to give them material belongings, or even to be in some kind of hierarchy, because God Himself Almighty is everywhere and He is part of you and you're part of Him. Now, this was contradictory to the official doctrine that was to build churches, to build a lot of other monuments, in terms to unite the nation through religion. We had the imposing of this religion in order to unite the different types of tribes and different types of ethnicities that we had in our first Bulgarian Empire. So the state started prosecuting these guys. And these guys started fleeing the state. They started going to Kievanus, Bosnia, Dalmatia, Serbia, Italy, France, the Catars, where they joined a lot of other different teachings, different studies, and even they started some of their own. This is just to give you a brief idea what is Bogomilism. There will be another in-depth analysis, in-depth presentation on Bogomilism during this year, but later for this. The second idea, now coming 10 centuries later, Bogomilism is in the 10th century. In the 20th century, we had the so-called Dunovism. Dunovism comes from the name of the founder of this idea, Peter Dunov, who calls Dunovism the Universal White Brotherhood, as this is a religious movement founded in Bulgaria in the early 20th century and established in France in 1937. Now, the group of the people who are part of the Universal White Brotherhood propose that Christian esotericism is characterized by a number of practices, including prayer, meditation, breathing exercises, yoga of nutrition, and panevrytmi. One of the most popular type of images that you may see when you put in the Universal White Brotherhood in Google is that you see the type of meditation, breathing exercise, and dancing in different and various of the kind natural sites around the world, mainly in Bulgaria, in one of the Bulgarian mountains, in Rila mountain, so-called, and you see a lot of interesting stuff there. Now, as you see, 10 centuries, 1,000 years, a whole millennia is not something which can stop the idea, stop the ability, or even stop the seeking of light, the seeking of knowledge of the Bulgarian people and all those that live in the territory of Bulgaria or in the region on the Balkan Peninsula. This is why we put in Bogomilism and Dunovism as one of the two most proficiently, should I say, or even popular in these ages philosophies that were spread and came into existence from Bulgaria and from the Bulgarian people. So I briefly now move to the three significant time frames of Freemasonic endeavors in Bulgaria. As I stated, the Bulgarian people always want to use the ability to learn, to understand the world they live in, to understand their surroundings. Now, Freemasonry for Bulgarians is a way for progress, personal progress, social progress, national progress, universal progress. From a comedy point of view, sometimes more personal, which is not good, but anyways, there are people and people. Before the liberation of Bulgaria, we had Freemasonry viewed as mostly a gain for non-Bulgarians, but slowly many Bulgarians way to the temple, and the craft was used as a mean for supporting the national liberation movement and later for the formation of the Third Bulgarian state. This was true not only for Bulgaria, the not liberated Bulgaria. This was true also for Serbia. This was true also for Romania. This was true also for Greece. This was true for almost all the states on the Balkans, which were part of the Ottoman or the Turkish Empire. Freemasonry, through its secrecy, through its secret instruments, through its knowledge, through its interconnections, through its ability to make you do what you need to do, because when a brother asks you to do something, you cannot say no, was the idea which spread very quickly that can be used as an instrument for the liberation of the states that are now sovereign states on the Balkans in Southeastern Europe. In 1805, 1807, there's a document found in Bulgaria that is from the head of the French consulate, Colonel Mariage, who mentions a lodge in the city of Vidin. Vidin is on the Danube River. The Danube River, as a very, prior to having planes, prior to having autobahns, highways, speedways, whatever, the Danube River was viewed as one of the quickest routes to interconnect one type of city in Central Europe to other type of village or city and on the Balkans. So the Danube River was used as a mean of connection, as a mean through which a lot of culture, a lot of civilization, a lot of influence was introduced in a lot of states, as every river is around the world at that time. Now, later in 1830, again, but in another Danube River city, Ruse, was an attempt to consecrate a Bulgarian members only lodge by Brother Archimandrit Ephraim. Brother Ephraim was initiated in 1820 in the French lodge Ovid in Chisinau, nowadays Moldova. The idea is that both the cities, Vidin and Ruse, were attracting a lot of the prominent members of society from Central and Western Europe who would travel to see a new place, a new state. And through the river, a lot of economic-wise trade route was influenced, and trade was influenced by the river. So the river itself was the place through which a lot of influence was made, as you see. 1869, this is a very interesting year. Still, Bulgaria is not liberated. Bulgaria liberates itself in 1878. So this is the slide until the liberation. As you see, we're talking about Bulgarians, but there's no Bulgaria. They're only ethnic Bulgarians. Where do they live? They live in the Ottoman Empire, south of the Danube River, meaning nowadays Bulgaria, but back then the Ottoman Turkish Empire, or north of the Danube River, meaning Romania. Now, in 1869, there was the so-called Young Bulgaria movement. Young Bulgaria is something like a twin brother, like a mirror of young Italy, of young Turkey, of young Greece. Basically, an economic and political movement for the liberation or for the change of the political system of this and that state. Bulgaria had its own Young Bulgaria prior to having Bulgaria itself as a state. Why did that happen? Of course, not in the Turkish Empire. It happened in Romania, as well as the Bulgarian Literary Society in Brăila. Now, the Bulgarian Literary Society in Brăila is the official name of a Masonic lodge in the city of Brăila, which is in Romania, and it was founded by only Bulgarian members, ethnic Bulgarians, who made this lodge. It was called Bulgarian Literary Society. But later on, it reformed itself and reconstructed itself to be named Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, as this can be viewed even today. We have the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, which was formed back then in 1869 as the Bulgarian Literary Society. So Freemasonry influenced not only the idea of knowledge to be spread, of light to be shed upon different matters of the living of the people. Freemasonry started the reconstruction of the state, of the society itself, to many of the non-governmental organizations, because there was no government back then of Bulgaria, since there was no state of Bulgaria, through the non-profit activities, through the idea to spread knowledge, through the idea to reform the political society, through the idea to reform the economic society, through the idea to gain knowledge upon what is happening. So up to the 1878, this year to which I once again will repeat is the year in which we have the liberation of Bulgaria, many prominent ethnic Bulgarians were initiated in different lodges in Istanbul. I put Constantinople due to other reasons, not any Masonic or anyways, so this is a mistake. It should be Istanbul, Bucharest, Leipzig, Paris, Odessa, and other cities and other places around Europe and the region. During the 1877-1878 Russian-Turkish Liberation War, as we call it, many field and wartime lodges were consecrated mainly by Romanians, and thus many Bulgarians were initiated in them. As you see, a lot of the liberation movement was interconnected mainly with our northern neighbor, with Romania. Of course, a lot of the strategies, a lot of the activities were also coordinated with Serbia and with Greece through the Freemasonic networks. The committees, the National Liberation Committees of Bulgaria, were interconnected with all the other National Liberation Committees, all the other states which got their liberation prior to ours, our neighboring states. So we are very grateful and thankful to our neighbors for the fact that they worked with us. They worked for our liberation. They worked for the spread of knowledge. And also they gave a big and valuable input and push to the spread of Freemasonry in Bulgaria prior to the liberation of Bulgaria, with which I conclude this sub-item and move to the next one. After the liberation of the Kingdom of Bulgaria, now 1879 is an important year because on the 21st of February, there's a brother named Ivan Vedar, who we view as the patriarch or as the father of Bulgarian Freemasonry as a whole, as in total. He leads and guarantees for 3 Bulgarians from the city of Russe and leads them to the city of Bucharest, where in the Heliopolis Lodge they are initiated. Later, there are 3 more, and thus 3 plus 3 plus 1 makes 7. Now, having 7 Bulgarian Master Masons is a valuable time, a valuable opportunity. On the 20th of March, the Grand Orient of Lusitania, Portugal, but officially it's the Grand Orient of Lusitania, the oldest obedience, Freemasonic obedience in Portugal, confirms the documents for the installation of a regular lodge in Bulgaria. And in February 18th, the next year, 1880, with a delegation from Romania, present during the installation, the Balkan-style lodge was consecrated with the registered number 134 and patent 1831-134 of March 31st, 1879, with the worshipful master, Brother Ivan Vedar. Now, 40 years later, 1884, lodges from Ruse, Danube River City, Svistov, Danube River City, Bucharest, capital of Romania, 40 kilometers north of the Danube River City, consecrating Varna, city on the Black Sea coast. Plamen, how long is the travel from Ruse to Varna? I think 100 kilometers or something, even less. Okay, maybe you don't hear me. They consecrate in Varna the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, recognized by the Grand Symbolic Lodge of France. The Grand Lodge of Bulgaria had a very short period of active life as the Portuguese lodges. However, in 1885, the Lodge Brotherhood initiated the founding of the Bulgarian Red Cross. Now, why do we mention now the Bulgarian Red Cross? Why do we talk about very, very short period of life, of active life? For some reason, we don't know yet what is the reason. Our archives don't say still nothing. We're still looking into that. The Portuguese, the ones from the Grand Orient of Lusitania, and the Grand Symbolic Lodge of France, lodges, they, for some reason, they started their active life and then they stopped their active life. We don't know why. There is, of course, another brother, past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, another Grand Lodge which derived from us in 2010. He explains more in depth, more in details, what happened with the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria during that time. But to this day, we don't know what exactly happened with these lodges. But continuing on with what Freemasonry did for the Bulgarian social society is the fact that in Lodge Brotherhood, during a lodge meeting, there was the idea to construct, to initiate the founding of the Bulgarian Red Cross. There's also another idea in another lodge, which came into existence to what we know now as the Sofia University, the alma mater, or so-called mother of education, mother of knowledge of the Bulgarian social society until today. The oldest university in Bulgaria was also initiated during a debate in a lodge, in a Freemasonic lodge. Until 1913, no lodge was active. And in 1913, 1916, during these 3 years, there was a new lodge formed. It was called Zarya. Zarya in Bulgarian, if we translate it into English, means illumination, like a firework going up, illumination. With the registered number 463 in the Grand Lodge of France. And in 1917, now this is important, the Grand Symbolic Lodge of Bulgaria was formed and gained worldwide recognition instantly. When you talk about Freemasonic law, Grand Lodges in Bulgaria in terms of history, officially we stick to the year 1917. We don't go back to the other Grand Lodges or other types of lodges that we had, constituent lodges that were part of Lusitania or part of the Grand Symbolic Lodge or the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria that was recognized, or so on and so on. We stick to 1917 because this was the official entity which gathered the elite, the administrative, economic, political, cultural, and education elite of the liberated and newly formed Third Bulgarian state. 1917, meaning something like not 50 years after the liberation. Since 1917 until 1940, mainly 23 years, we now have more active life of Freemasonry in Grand Lodge. We have 24 years now. These guys back then, these brothers, changed Bulgaria. We had a lot of things being done through Freemasonry. We had a lot of factories, a lot of buildings, a lot of universities, a lot of education facilities for schools, for colleges, for a lot of sports activities. Freemasonry made this state what it was until 1940. In 1933, Rotary International was introduced in Bulgaria thanks to a decision in a lodge meeting to bring in the biggest humanitarian organization worldwide that was formed in 1905. We brought it in Bulgaria in 1933. Now, in 1939, 1940, during the Second World War, there was a lot of activities to try to align the Bulgarian state together with the Nazi German state in terms of not to piss off the Germans, should I put it more politically correct. One of these activities was to introduce legislation with which the state banned Freemasonry. I said it earlier, I'm saying it again. But not only Freemasonry. It banned Rotary Club. It banned even some types of education facilities. It banned sport facilities, sport clubs. It banned a lot of stuff. During the Second World War, however, though there was no active Grand Lodge, though there was no active constituent lodge, the Freemasons in Bulgaria took active part in saving the Bulgarian Jewish community. 54,000 Bulgarians were saved due to decisions, official and not official ones, taken in debates between brothers. This is one part of the things that the Bulgarian Freemasonic community back then, because there was no Grand Lodge, no lodges, did. Another was not to exterminate Roma ethnic members, because as you know, not only the Jewish community was put on wagons to Auschwitz and going underneath the ark on which was stated Arbeit, Arbeit, Arbeit. In German, in English means work, work, work. Though we do all know where it comes from initially. What happened is that Freemasonry continued to influence as much as it could brotherhood, peace and tolerance in the Bulgarian society. We do have to mention that the first Bulgarian, as we call him, father of Bulgarian Freemasonry, Ivan Veda, was initiated in the Oriental Lodge in Istanbul. Oriental Lodge is part of the United Grand Lodge of England. So, having in mind that we have had a lot of interconnections with England, with France, with Portugal, with the neighboring states, Romania, Serbia, Greece, Turkey also. Young Turkey and young Bulgaria were working together. My grandfather was part of Young Bulgaria. This is something which not many people know. Now, I think all of YouTube will know. Anyways, we tried to continue doing what we have done on this crossroad for many decades, many hundreds of years, millennia. To be tolerant, to treat a brother as a brother, no matter where he comes from. So this is what happened until communism. Communism came, many brothers fled the country, others stayed. Those who fled the country, who went to be immigrants due to political, due to economic, due to personal, due to other view or type of immigrancy, they some of them made it. Some of them came back after 1989. So with which I move on to the third sub-item. After the fall of communism, 10th of November 1989, I think it was 8th or 9th of November when the Berlin Wall fell. The next day or the day after was the day in which in Bulgaria we had the beginning of our reform aligned with the perestroika movement, should I put it more politically correct. In 1992, now here comes the interesting part. I'll just have a sip of water, sorry. In 1992, after communism was dismantled officially, there were two lines of Freemasonic activities concerning the jurisdiction of Bulgaria. One was via the Germans, the second was by the Serbs. The Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Yugoslavia in 1992, on the day of Christmas, I think was the official day, in ski resort in Borovets in a mountain nearby, tries to form a Grand Lodge in Bulgaria. But here comes the tricky part. He does this without the decision of the Grand Lodge of Yugoslavia, and against the demand of the United Grand Lodges of Germany, that Germany, through the Grand Lodge, United Grand Lodges of Germany, is to be the one to consecrate the new Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. However, he doesn't obey this. He tries to make this new Grand Lodge in Bulgaria, since there is no other Grand Lodge. And all hell breaks loose, should I put it in other terms. The second line was the German line. The German line is Bulgarians who were actively working during communism in Western Germany, and after the unification, the fall of the Berlin Wall and the unification of the Western and Eastern Germanies, they were parts of different lodges in Germany, and the Germans started working with them in order to reintroduce Freemasonry officially, regularly, with a Grand Lodge in Bulgaria. What they did was that they had 3 or 4, we have it in depth analysis on our website, which you can view on our presentation and on your bottom left corner, in English also. So the Germans, they consecrated 3 or 4 constituent lodges with Bulgarian names, with almost 100% Bulgarian members in them, and they started working in the orient of Sofia, the capital city of Bulgaria, and they started building builders. They started making master masons, one by one, 1 year, 2nd year, 3rd year, and they started in 1992. They coincided. The two lines, for some reason, coincide with timing. Yes, the Yugoslavians tried to build the Grand Lodge from zero by introducing a Grand Lodge. The Germans stated, okay, guys, we're going to make constituent lodges, we're going to make a Grand Lodge, but in time, you need time to develop. So in 1995, 1996, the two lines of Freemasonic activities in Bulgaria unite and elect They elect a board of grand officers and the Grand Master, Brother Ivan Stavrev, for the consecration and formation of a regular Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. That is to be named Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria, with from the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons of Germany, supported by the American Canadian Grand Lodge of Germany, officially by the United Grand Lodges of Germany. Our name to be AFAM stems from the idea that the AFAM Lodge of Germany will be the one to introduce the light, will be the one to install, to consecrate our Grand Lodge. So, having this election taking place in 1996, between the two lines, they united themselves. Of course, from 70, 80 brothers who united themselves, there were 3 who didn't want to unite. They went out. They didn't want to be part of this idea. Later on for them. So, the most worshipful Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, that is to be regularly installed as GLAFAM in Bulgaria by the Germans, started the process of education together with the Germans, of implementation of all the activities that build up until the day 20th, 21st and 22nd of September 1997. The Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria was consecrated. The first Grand Master is installed, the Most Worshipful Brother Ivan Stavrev. The ritual is presided by the Most Worshipful Brother Rainer J. Schicke, Grand Master of the United Grand Lodges of Germany, and Most Worshipful Brother Klaus Hornefer, Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons of Germany. Official delegations on this festive 2 days were brothers from Germany, Austria, Italy, and Greece. This is how the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria was formed, consecrated, and I'm a proud member of this obedience. No other Grand Lodge in Bulgaria until 1997 exists. This is the first regularly installed Grand Lodge. There is no other Grand Lodge in Bulgaria. Now, we move on to the problematic situations from 1992 until 2015. Because I can talk a lot of history about what we have done, but the Brotherhood. I don't want to speak only about the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, but as a whole, the Brotherhood. But that will be just self-advertisement. We have our website, we have a YouTube channel, we have Facebook. You can go online, put in GLAFAM in Bulgaria, and you get to understand what we have done. The Freemasonic activities in Bulgaria and Freemasonry evolves in different directions, sadly sometimes. In 1992, as I mentioned, the Yugoslavian GM, without the decision of the Grand Lodge of Yugoslavia and against the view of the United Grand Lodges of Germany, tries to form a Grand Lodge in Bulgaria. This attempt, officially, with a document, was declared as highly irregular by the United Grand Lodges of Germany. Later on, when we were consecrated in 1997, we have also video in our video archive, which is public. We have the Most Worshipful Brother Klaus Hornefer and Rainer J. Schicke. They both state that there is no other Grand Lodge in Bulgaria and that this attempt was irregular. In 1994-1995, the unsuccessful attempt and irregular actions further on by some members sparked debates on, and due to other non-Masonic actions, at a grand meeting of the Yugoslav line, as I stated, two lines. The Yugoslav line was tried to form the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, which was irregular. 3 members from the lodges in Bulgaria are excluded from their membership. Basically, they don't obey the idea to unite with the Germans, and they say, okay, we're going to not be part of this. However, due to their non-Masonic conduct, they were excluded. And with this, the unification with the German line was a fact. In 1987, GLAFM in Bulgaria was consecrated, as I stated on the previous slide. Now, what happened with these 3 guys? In 1995, 1997, the 3 excluded members form a same name entity. Prior to September 21st, 1997, we were called Grand Lodge in Bulgaria, or off in Bulgarian language is tricky, it's almost the same. But these guys, they do the same name entity. If we were in, they were off. Or if they were off, we were in. Grand Lodge in Bulgaria, for example, is us until 21st of September 1997. And they were Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. But this was just a non-governmental organization. Anybody can make a non-governmental organization. Though in our case, we were legitimately organized and we made the official legislative procedure, the official procedure for registration as a gathering of 3 Masonic, different letter. So they claimed legitimacy worldwide and continued to act as if they were a regular lodge. Only 3 people, only 3 brothers, though they were excluded. Until today, we officially view them as brothers, but 3. You do understand that you cannot be a lodge with 3 people, with 3 guys, with 3 members, with 3 brothers. The next slide is the year 2000. Now here is very, very interesting. In the year 2000, the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Members of Bulgaria. Still, there's no other Grand Lodge in Bulgaria. Officially, non-officially, whatever. There is no other regularly installed, regularly consecrated, whatever, Grand Lodge. So our Grand Lodge adopts a decision to form the Supreme Council of 33rd and last degree of the ancient free and accepted Scottish Rite of Bulgaria, with the help and support of the Southern jurisdiction. Now, this is the second time in which there are brothers who are unhappy of what Freemasonry will be doing in Bulgaria. This is viewed by a handful of brothers as politically. When I state politically, I don't mean politics in Freemasonry. I mean politics state-wise, as politically incorrect. And in the upcoming biannual communication in November, meaning November 2000, forgery is committed. This was later proved in the court, and breach of the rules of procedure is carried out by them in order to gain the position of Grand Master and other Grand Officers' positions, and to put a halt on the preparations for the installation of the Supreme Council of 33rd and last degree of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite in Bulgaria. However, this was carried out 2 months later, in January 2001, when the ceremony was personally directed by the Deputy Supreme Commander of the Supreme Mother Council of the NATO member states, the Mighty and Honorable Robert Woodward, 33rd degree, in the presence of the personal representative of the Supreme Mother Council of the World, Brother S.B. Hall, in the presence of the most powerful and honored sovereign supreme commander of Turkey and Greece, and representatives and delegations of Supreme Council of Russia, Hungary, the ceremonial master of the rituals, the sovereign supreme lieutenant commander of Supreme Council of Portugal, Brother Mario Gia. A formal greeting to the ceremony was sent by the most powerful and most potent and honored sovereign supreme commander of the Supreme Council of Germany, Brother Hubert Krupp, 33rd degree. But this didn't stop here. When this happened, after the forgery and the misconduct at the biannual communication, we have a biannual, it's not every year, it's every 2 years. When this happened, all these doings were brought up to the court, and the decision was to have a revolt. Basically, in the same month, I think, was the decision. The elections were in November, and I think in November or December, the decision came out that until March, because December, January, Christmas, New Year, official, non-official activities, personal stuff, la la la. So the idea was until March to have a revolt. Well, those brothers who were not happy, and politically they thought that having Supreme Council 33rd is not a good idea for Bulgarian Freemasonry and for Bulgaria, they were not satisfied with the decision of the court. They left the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. They left the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. Leaving our Grand Lodge, in the years to come, they united themselves with those 3 guys from 1995. And together, they changed the so-called Grand Lodge of Bulgaria name of that non-governmental organization. They took and made the change with a new name, and the new name, again, was the same name as our current name. Our name was Grand Lodge AFAM in Bulgaria. They made the change to their GLB to Grand Lodge AFAM of Bulgaria. Again, the same procedure, same name change, same name entity. Later, in the year 2004, they renamed themselves to United Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. In our third time, you change your name. This time you call yourself United Grand Lodge. And you claim that we united with you. This is what happened back in 2004. So this claim comes officially in every 5 years, periodically, regularly also, every 5 years. So from 2004 and 2010, though we as brothers know what our former brothers have done, we view them as brothers because they got their light in our lodges. We made them builders. Yes, sometimes we make mistakes, but we do not claim that they are not Masons. We do not claim that they are not Freemasons. We do not claim that they cannot be part of the Freemasonic movement in Bulgaria. So, during the 6 years of 2004-2010, the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria, the first regularly installed consecrated Grand Lodge in Bulgaria, and the United Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, I don't want to say anything else. We had a lot of talks and pauses on the idea for unification of joint actions for the betterment of Freemasonry in the jurisdiction. We have always tried to be united in a way which is unilateral, which is for the betterment of Freemasonry, which is for the betterment of a civil society, and of course, which goes regularly. It is regular, because Freemasonry is not just a gathering of brothers who don't know what to do. Freemasonry claims to be, in a sense, obeying esoteric laws. To obey, we claim that we obey, and we claim to understand, then we claim to obey the laws of the universe. So there were sporadic movements by brothers and whole lodges changing their membership from one obedience to another, mainly from our Grand Lodge to the other Grand Lodge, from the other Grand Lodge to our Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria, for many times we proposed an umbrella organization, but the United Grand Lodge never acknowledged any interest for this idea. They want to be just one lodge and that's it. You do understand that we didn't have one lodge 100 years ago. We have 3 lodges, Grand Lodges, the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria, the Grand Symbolic Lodge of Bulgaria, and the lodges that are working part of the Portuguese Lodge, the Lusitan Grand Lodge lodges. So this cannot happen. We are a diverse society. We need to be united in our differences, as is the European continent. So in 2010, just to back up what I just stated, on May 17th, 3 constituent lodges, part of the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria, of us, fulfilled the Freemasonic procedure. They went by the book, basically, by our constitution, and asked for the restart and reinstallment of the Grand Lodge of Bulgaria by the Grand Lodge of France, that from 1917, to which I just mentioned a couple of slides ago. The first Grand Master of this newly restarted, not installed, but newly restarted Grand Lodge was Brother Savino Batanov, a Bulgarian national who started his Freemasonic affiliation in the United Grand Lodges of Germany. He also was a member of the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria. And the installation was on the 17th of October 2010 by the Grand Lodge of France. So officially, now we have regularly 2 Grand Lodges installed in Bulgaria. Grand Lodge AFM in Bulgaria, Grand Lodge of France. 2010, 2 lodges, 2 Grand Lodges. We view the United Grand Lodge also as a Grand Lodge. So 2, 3 Grand Lodges. 2013, 3 years later, I told you, we're a diverse society. We aim to be united, but sometimes we aim to unite not only by constituent lodges, but Grand Lodges themselves. There's a new Grand Lodge that came into existence. June the 6th, 2013, but as part of 4 craft lodges, split from the Grand Lodge of the Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Bulgaria, and proclaimed that they will restore the Grand Lodge of Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Bulgaria. Again, this was a Grand Lodge which was prior to the Second World War, and it existed in the Varna region. So, on October 11th, 2013, the Grand Lodge of Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Bulgaria was proclaimed by the 4 craft lodges, 4 constituent lodges. The Grand Master, the first Grand Master, is still, to what I know, the most watchful brother, Nikolai Stanchev. So, 2013, officially, 3 lodges, 3 or 4 lodges in total. 2014, 2015. October 2014, brothers from many constituent lodges, GLAF in Bulgaria, only from our Grand Lodge, asked for the resignation of the Grand Master, the most watchful brother Valery Mit, due to his profane work and engagements. On December 14th, at a Grand Lodge meeting, some constituent lodges voted for the unification of the UGLB. Now, I'll put a pause to what I'm reading to explain. In October 2014, our Grandmaster, the most watchful brother Valery Mitkov, he is an owner of a lot of facilities that deal with different instruments of national security. So there was a big incident in one of these facilities where a lot of people died there. For the reason that a lot of the information in the public society was that a lot of the laws, a lot of the legislation, a lot of the manuals were not in order in that facility. The brothers from the Grand Lodge asked the most watchful brother, Valery Mitkov, to resign. We did ask him to resign. He did not resign. We viewed at our attempt for him to resign, we wanted his resignation to show to the public that he will in no way influence or try to influence the Bulgarian authorities, the investigations, and the court in its ruling. He did not resign, however. On the contrary, he was a Grandmaster who came into power, who was elected and came into power in our Grand Lodge with the idea to try to influence the world, to show to the world, to show to all the Masonic obediences around the world that the GLAFM in Bulgaria, our Grand Lodge, as the facts show, is the first regularly installed and still active Grand Lodge at that time. When this happened, the incident in his factory for bomb utilization, and a lot of people were killed, and it came down to the fact that a lot of manuals and a lot of measures were not met. He went totally opposite to what he came as an idea to do. He started asking the United Grand Lodge of Bulgaria to unite with them, but to unite in a way in which we cease to exist. Basically, always the United Grand Lodge of Bulgaria asks every brother, no matter where he comes from, if he comes from a Bulgarian Grand Lodge, of course, to fill in a form in which he states that he has never been a member, and to what he has been a member cannot be identified as a Freemasonic lodge. You do understand that I cannot sign that I have not been a member of the Grand Lodge of AM in Bulgaria because, and I cannot state that it's not a Grand Lodge and it's not a Masonic entity, because it is purely and solely installed by the United Grand Lodges of Germany back in 1997. So they asked us to cease to exist. On December 14th, at the Grand Lodge Grand Meeting, some constituent lodges voted for the unification with United Grand Lodge of Bulgaria. Our constitution until today states that if we are to unite with another Grand Lodge, this decision has to be carried out with a second revolt, which has to happen at the second consecutive Grand Lodge meeting. However,